imagine stepping onto a space station, right? You're floating in zero gravity, and over the course of just a few months, your body literally stretches out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you actually grow 3% taller. The physical reality of your daily work physically reshapes your spine simply because, well, there's no gravity compressing it anymore.
That is just incredible to think about. I mean, the work you do, it doesn't just fill your time, it can literally alter your physical form.
Right, and it alters your life, your perspective, and, your future.
Hmm.
So today, we're diving into exactly that. We are looking at how the jobs we choose and the actual words we use to describe them reshape our lives.
Absolutely.
Our mission today for this deep dive is exploring the concept of my dream job. And we have an incredibly diverse stack of sources to pull from for this.
We really do.
Yeah, we're looking at essays written by children about their future goals. We're pulling from English language learning guides. We've got some fun facts about fascinating careers, and even professional manuals on how to write audio scripts.
It's a fascinating cross-section of material. We're blending, the pure ambition of a 10-year-old's essay with highly technical, practical advice. And because we want to be great mentors to you today, we're doing something a little intentional with our delivery.
We are. So one of the sources we dug into today is a guide specifically focused on communicating with English language learners.
Right.
And as we read through it, we realized the advice isn't just good for learning English, it's just objectively brilliant communication strategy. So we are applying those tips right here.
Exactly. So you might notice we're speaking a bit more deliberately today.
Yeah, we're intentionally leaving clear gaps between our sentences.
And we're prioritizing simple foundational language. The goal is to strip away the noise so you can easily process the core ideas and the new vocabulary.
We want you to feel fully supported, whether you're learning the language or just trying to absorb complex ideas while you drive to work. So let's get into it.
Sounds good.
I've always thought of building a work life like trying to solve a giant puzzle without the picture on the box.
That's a great way to put it.
Right. But before we even try to pick a dream job, we have to understand the basic words we use to talk about work, right?
Which sounds simple, but the English language learning videos we reviewed, they highlight a massive trap people fall into.
Oh, definitely.
We tend to use 4 specific words completely interchangeably: job, occupation, profession, and career.
Guilty as charged.
Right, but structurally, they mean very different things.
I use job and occupation as if they're the exact same word. So, correct me here. Looking at the sources, a job seems to be the most transactional. What exactly defines it?
A job is the most specific, localized unit of work.
Okay.
It's the work you do usually to make an immediate paycheck. It's a specific role tied to a specific employer.
So, like, if you work at a restaurant, your job might be shift manager.
Exactly. It can last for 3 weeks over a summer, or it can last for 10 years.
Got it. So the job is the immediate, specific task I'm being paid for right now. Then what is an occupation? Like, is manager an occupation?
Not quite. Occupation is the broader umbrella. It describes the general kind of work you spend your time doing.
Ah, okay.
So if your job is shift manager at a coffee shop, your occupation is food service or hospitality. It's the general way you occupy your working hours.
That makes a lot of sense. The occupation is the category and the job is the specific role inside it.
Right.
But here's where I get a little tripped up. What separates an occupation from a profession? Don't they both just mean a broad category of work?
It's a subtle but crucial difference. A profession involves a significant barrier to entry,
Meaning what, exactly?
meaning it's work that requires highly specialized training, rigorous study, often at a university, and usually some form of certification. You can't just walk in off the street and decide to practice a profession.
Oh, I see. Like doctors, lawyers, architects.
Exactly. They don't just have occupations. They belong to a profession because they had to pass tests and practice for years just to earn the right to do the work.
That makes perfect sense. So the profession is defined by the intense study required to get there.
Yep.
And finally, that brings us to the biggest word of all, career. Let's keep the language really simple here based on our guides. How do we define a career path?
To put it as simply as possible, a career path is the journey of your work.
The journey of your work.
Right. It's the entire sequence of your professional life over your lifetime.
I love that phrase, the journey of your work. So let me test a hypothesis here.
Go for it.
If a career is the whole lifelong journey of your work, does that mean a job is essentially just one single footstep on that long path?
That is a brilliant way to frame it. Yes.
Wow.
You take many individual footsteps, many different jobs, to travel the long journey of your career.
And understanding that difference completely changes how we interact with people. The sources point out that asking someone, "What is your job?" can sometimes feel a bit abrupt.
Or limited, yeah. You're just asking for their current title.
But there's a much more natural way to ask about someone's journey. Right.
Definitely. The much more common conversational phrasing is, what do you do for a living?
What do you do for a living?
Right. It's a subtle psychological shift. You aren't just demanding a corporate title. You're asking, what activity do you engage in to support your life?
Which opens the door for them to talk about their job, their profession, or their overarching career journey.
Exactly.
So now that we have the basic vocabulary of work down, we know how to talk about the journey of work. I want to pivot to the dreams themselves.
The fun part.
Yeah, because long before we worry about the nuances of professions versus occupations, we're just kids with wild ambitions.
We all have those classic dream jobs when we're young.
We do. And since we are wearing our mentor hats today and applying the communication techniques, we're going to break down the pronunciation of a few of these classic roles.
We'll sound them out deliberately,
Yes.
syllable by syllable, for anyone learning.
Let's start with a big one. Listen to the mechanics of this word. Engineer.
Nice and slow.
Let me do that one more time. Engineer.
When you slow it down like that, you can actually hear the root word hiding right at the front. Engine.
Engine, right.
An engineer is fundamentally a professional problem solver. They use the principles of math and science to build things.
And the sources give us a fantastic historical anchor for this, Alexander Graham Bell.
Oh, yes.
We usually just call him an inventor, but he was fundamentally an engineer.
Yeah.
In 1876, he engineered the telephone. He took an abstract problem, how to communicate from far away, and applied math and science to build a solution.
It's the perfect example of how an engineer's work ripples outward. Let's look at another one.
This was definitely on my list as a kid. Let's sound it out. Astronaut.
Let's hear it once more.
Astronaut.
An astronaut is, quite simply, a person who travels in space.
They are our modern-day explorers.
And the dedication required for this journey is staggering. We read about Neil Armstrong, the first human to walk on the moon in 1969.
His journey started incredibly early. He got his pilot's license when he was just 16 years old.
16?
Yeah, that was his first literal footstep on a career path that eventually led to the moon.
And looking at a more contemporary example from the sources, we have British astronaut Tim Peake.
Right.
He didn't just walk into the job.
Yeah.
He had to beat out 8,000 other highly qualified applicants just to spend 6 months on the International Space Station, the ISS.
Which brings us back to that mind-blowing fact from the intro. When you are an astronaut, you grow 3% taller in space because there is no gravity.
The physical manifestation of the job. It's amazing. Let's practice one more foundational dream job. Listen closely to the sounds. Doc. Ritter.
Again, Doc Rinner.
A doctor treats people who are sick or injured. And this brings to mind another word from our medical vocabulary that we can sound out together. The tool they wear around their neck.
Scope. Let's say it again. Stethoscope. A stethoscope lets them listen to the heart beating inside your chest.
And what's beautiful about the medical profession is the deep human empathy it requires.
Yeah, we read an incredibly touching essay from a YouTube source provided for this deep dive. It was written by a 10-year-old girl named Lynn.
I loved Lynn's essay. It was wonderful. She wrote about her ultimate dream career. She wants to be a doctor, but not for the prestige or the title.
No, she specifically wrote that she wants to work in a hospital to help sick people and to be kind to them when they are scared.
Her ultimate goal is to treat people who cannot afford medical care for free.
It's a beautiful reminder that a career path isn't just an economic journey to make money. It's a journey of how you want to interact with the world.
Absolutely.
It actually reminds me of a concept from the WonderLearn source about becoming an architect. An architect designs buildings, sure, but the process of building a career is just like architecture.
How do you mean?
Well, you start with a blank blueprint. Every single skill you learn, every small job you take, is like carefully placing a Lego piece or pouring concrete.
Right.
It takes many pieces, carefully placed over years, to make something beautiful and strong. Your career works the exact same way.
That's a powerful way to look at it. But as beautiful as Lynn's dream is, and as exciting as it is to think about launching into space, having the dream is merely step one.
The easy part.
Exactly. Making it a reality requires a very specific type of effort. You can't just wish for it, you must work for it.
Which brings us to a really fascinating linguistic quirk in the English language. We found this in the Master Key English source material, and it perfectly illustrates the concept of effort.
Yes, the difference between working hard and hardly working.
This is one of those grammatical traps that makes English so famously confusing to learn. But it reveals so much about how we view effort. These two phrases use the exact same words, just flipped in their order.
But linguistically, flipping them completely reverses the reality of the situation.
Right, so if you say you are working hard, explain what that means simply.
Working hard means making a big effort with lots of energy. You are pouring your focus and your sweat into the task.
But if you move the word to the front and make it hardly working, the meaning changes entirely.
Hardly becomes an adverb of frequency, meaning almost never. So hardly working means the opposite. It means you are barely doing any work at all.
Let me push back on this for a second because, if someone tells me, oh, my buddy Dave hardly works, that almost sounds like a compliment. It sounds like Dave has figured out a fun, relaxing life. Is it actually a positive thing in a professional setting?
In casual conversation with friends, maybe. But in the context of building a career, it is absolutely a warning sign.
A warning sign?
Yes, if a manager says an employee is hardly working, it means they lack dedication and they might lose their job. Hard work and dedication are what actually make dreams come true.
And the sources give us incredible examples of what working hard actually looks like behind the scenes. Let's look back at our astronauts.
You don't just put on a spacesuit and catch a rocket.
No. The training period to become an astronaut can last up to 10 years, a decade of intense preparation.
And once they get to the ISS, the hard work compounds. We mentioned they grow taller because of zero gravity, but that also means their muscles start to waste away.
Right.
So, an astronaut must exercise for 2 whole hours every single day in space just to stay healthy.
That is the literal definition of working hard. And it's not just astronauts. Think about a high-end chef.
Oh, a kitchen is a highly demanding environment.
Right. You have the rôtisseur, who is sprinting to manage the spit roasting of meats. You have the pâtissier, the pastry chef, who is baking the perfect breads and desserts. They manage incredibly busy kitchens.
Exactly. The effort is what builds the dream. But let's bring this into the present moment.
Okay.
We've talked about classic jobs, astronauts, engineers, doctors. What if your dream job is a product of the modern digital age?
Like a podcaster or a content creator.
Exactly. This is where the script and Castos manuals from our source stack become incredibly valuable. Because whether your dream is to be an astronaut or a digital storyteller, you must know how to communicate your ideas clearly to others.
If you can't communicate clearly, your effort is wasted.
And communicating in modern media requires a very specific shift. The primary rule from the audio scripting manuals is that you must write for the ear, not the eye.
I found this concept fascinating because writing for the eye means writing a textbook. If a reader gets confused, they just stop and reread it. But audio is linear. Why is writing for the ear so different?
Because of the cognitive load. When someone is listening, their brain only has a small buffer to hold onto the words. So you must use simple words, short phrases, and the active voice.
Ah, so they don't get lost.
Precisely. Which ties perfectly into the empathy aspect highlighted in our English language learner guides. Empathy means putting people at ease.
And practically, that means avoiding complex slang. Slang is highly informal language. If I use a niche phrase, I might alienate my audience.
It's also about directness. I know in a lot of corporate settings, we tend to use indirect language to be polite.
Right, saying things like, well, it seems we might be past the optimal window.
The guides say that is a terrible way to communicate.
Too confusing.
Yes. The listener has to guess what you mean. Clear communication is kind communication. It is much more respectful to just say, clearly no.
Clear is kind. I love that. And there's one final structural element to modern communication that the sources insist on. It's called the call to action, or the outro.
When you finish your work, you must give people a concise, easy next step that aligns with your goals.
Like joining an email list or sharing a link with a friend, you have to tell them what to do next.
Exactly. And let's take a quick meta moment here to look at exactly what we've been doing for the last 15 minutes.
Yes, we told you at the top of the show that we would speak more deliberately today.
We did. We've been actively writing for the ear. We've been using shorter phrases, avoiding slang, and speaking slowly.
We aren't doing this to talk down to you. We're doing it to practice the highest form of communication empathy from our sources. We want to ensure you feel entirely supported on your learning journey.
We're trying to be the best mentors we can be. So, bringing this all together, what does this mean for the journey of your work?
Let's do a quick recap. We've defined the fundamental vocabulary, knowing that a career is the lifelong journey. We've practiced the pronunciation of massive childhood dreams.
We've established that deep, sustained effort, working hard, is non-negotiable.
And we've uncovered the power of clear communication. And I want to close by sharing a real success story from our stack of sources. In a text called VocalVibe, we read about two English coaches, Mark and Sarah.
Their story is a perfect synthesis of everything we've discussed today.
Yeah. When Sarah was young, she dreamed of helping people, much like Lynn, the 10-year-old girl who wanted to be a doctor.
Mark and Sarah didn't just passively wish for it. They worked incredibly hard.
They took countless footsteps to build their career path. And the result? Today, they absolutely love their current jobs as English teachers.
They are profoundly happy and proud.
They are quite literally living their dream by talking to students all over the world. With hard work, you can find that exact same happiness in the journey of your work.
You really can.
But as we wrap up this deep dive, we want to leave you with one final provocative thought to mull over.
We've talked so much about choosing the perfect career path today. We've looked at the classical roles, doctors, astronauts, teachers. But consider how fast the world is changing with new technologies and new ways to communicate.
It's shifting at an unprecedented rate.
So, as you look at your own journey, ask yourself this question. Is it possible that your ultimate dream job hasn't even been invented yet?
It's an incredibly exciting prospect. You are gathering the tools right now, the work ethic, the communication skills, the vocabulary, so that when the future arrives, you are perfectly positioned. The journey of your work is entirely in your hands. Keep moving forward, keep communicating clearly, and keep working hard.